Good morning, everybody. I just posted episode 48 of Diabetics Radio, and it's looking at testosterone, IGF-1, and human growth hormone, or HGH, as hidden hormonal links to beta cell health. And in putting it together, like with any good educational material, I'm coming away with more questions. In the episode, I'm looking at what testosterone, IGF-1, and HGH do in the context of beta cell growth and transpose that over type 1 diabetes and what happens both pre-diagnosis and post-diagnosis with these really important growth factors. Like, did you know that testosterone is actually anti-inflammatory and that people with type 1 diabetes test really low for IGF-1, but that they also test really high for human growth hormone? But because of the synergy between all three of these growth factors, people with diabetes don't really get to reap any of the benefits. Like having really high human growth hormone but really low IGF-1 actually leads to insulin resistance. And thinking about in the context of type 1 diabetes development, are we paying too much attention to those growth factors in post-diagnosis as opposed to pre-diagnosis? When you read research on testosterone or IGF-1, it's usually with the narrative of, oh, you have diabetes, this is what's happening to your growth hormones. But what if it's, hey, this stuff is going on with your growth hormones, it's really impacting your ability to properly use insulin effectively, and then it plays into the development of the disease itself. And in addition to that, my knowledge of the beta cell development timeline just continues to expand because beta cells are a lot more adaptable and plastic than we realize. Because what we tend to overlook is that beta cell activity and insulin release is metabolism dependent. As in, all of our beta cells are not all going at 1,000% all the time. And as we lead our lives, there are these ebbs and flows of high growth, not as much growth, high growth, not as much growth. And each one is going to call for more insulin or less insulin. So beta cells need to have the ability to turn on their secretion abilities and turn them off. And when you think about the fact that prepubescence and the pubescent period in young adults and children, it's a time of incredible growth, right? The hormones are flowing. We think of testosterone, estrogen, IGF-1, like becoming an adult. That's also an incredibly highly stressful time for beta cells, and it needs a lot of insulin. So I think it's no coincidence that the two peaks of type 1 diabetes development come in that prepubescent stage between 7 and 10 years old and in the pubescent stage of 12 to 15. So if you want to know more about it, go check this episode out on my YouTube.